Once upon a time, long after Pon, the now legendary band Reposado traveled to Puerto Rico. This trip would be pivotal, for on this trip, the band's heartbeat, its Pon, would be changed forever. My grandfather was there. I discovered his archives from this seminal trip, and would like to share his findings with you. Given the strangeness and abstractions encountered, it is difficult to tell where reality ends and imagination begins.
I don't know about this guy.
I don't know about this guy.
Oh.
If you don't know, y'all came to a show. We are Reposado.
Yo, make sure to put a little money in the hat. Yo, let's show some love. Hey, yo, y'all got your dance shoes on? Y'all got your dance shoes on, 'cause it's about to get dancey in here. We gotta see some hips swinging. Swinging! Hey, yo, Sam.
There is an evil at work. It grows within the soul of every human. It has forced love into its most vulnerable condition in generations. For eternity, this battle has raged. Since the beginning of time, unconditional love and darkness have been in constant struggle. Every generation must fight this battle, and it is long overdue. Of late, the darkest forces have redoubled their efforts, and darkness is as strong as we've ever known. You are our final hope to fight back these evils. Echoes, vibrations, your ancestors lie in wait, deep in your soul, waiting for the proper moment. Evil's ancient tools, greed, hatred, fear, division, envy, blind consumerism, and complacency have brought humankind to the edge of existence. Your ancestors come to you now with a mission. It is up to you to harness these ancient vibrations to help show the world the path to peace lies within their soul. You are our final chance.
I can feel our time slipping away. Time to call my pops. I gotta tell him. It's time to take the fellas to Puerto Rico. My bills, like everyone. My girl, our brand new child. Life, shit. Life is amazing. But if I want to do more than just survive, this music on the street, it fills my soul. It doesn't pay the bills. We've come a long, long way. times are different. It's time to say something. We need one final piece. We need to start something. The fellas, they need to be exposed to the sounds. They need to be exposed to the Caribbean. Actually show up and be there. Feel it vibrating in the soil, the air. Ancestors' vibrations captured in the treetops and filtered into the water. And the soil that vibrates and tells you you're in Puerto Rico. Is it just a dream? Is this
You know Francis Bacon? Francis Bacon, I like his work a lot. So he did a portrait of one of his boyfriends. And it's him in a bicycle. I always like that thing. So this comes from there. I mean, the idea.
The concept, yeah.
But this is in the air, you know? Elisam Escobar Ortiz. I was born in May 24, 1948 in Ponce. I studied in the University of Puerto Rico. I studied art in fine arts. And I moved to New York City in the 70s. I lived there in the 70s.
Hey, Jay. Good, good. How are things with you? Awesome. Having a great time here. So what's going on?
It's time to take the fellas to Puerto Rico.
Wow. Okay. Well, actually, I think you should stay in school, man. I mean, that's what we talked about before, right?
That's crazy, man. I mean, like, you know, the money we're giving you, that money is for the school. We're not gonna give you money just for you to go out on tour and play music. You gotta guarantee your future, right? School is the way to go.
You should commit to school, and that's plan number one.
Anyway, I went to go meet up with him on Monday. And he said, yo, I got you with food and shit, and he made me pay for it. I was tight. Nah, it's not a good sign, but... So I don't know what, maybe he forgot. He was probably drunk. He said, yeah, come through, I'll take care of you some food or something like that. Like,
But did you pull out your card? I would have just walked away from the food.
nah. When I'm about to order, he's like, I got you with the drinks.
But you know how many people struggle with music? Have you ever looked into that? Yeah, man, but you got a kid, you gotta man up. You gotta pay the rent, you gotta pay the bills. Look where you're living now. You need a bigger place. How are you gonna do all this doing music? I'm telling you, John, you better stay in school because I don't think you're gonna get the support your mom and I, you know, at least financially.
It's a lot of street food.
Yeah, you ain't trying to eat.
Yeah, exactly. I'm broke, motherfucker. I'm broke.
It all echoes.
I'm broke.
Yeah. Now you're making it too hard to be broke, man.
Because it's all in savings.
I also, you know, I think we should try and do that.
Dude, take no for that.
I bought chicken, and I bought Alfredo sauce and pasta and rice. And I got beans, chicken, fish, and shit at home.
JP, talk to you about
Cooking on Fridays.
No, man, I'm trying to eat, man. Y'all ain't trying to eat?
Well, if you pay for my food, yeah.
Lend you money.
I can pay.
He was saying like that.
What is up to him?
What he was talking about
He's
specifically
a
is like,
I live beside
like, and then we.
He's my neighbor.
Are you trying to go eat or what?
I talked to him about that.
No, not in the places you want to go to.
Where you trying to go?
He was
the Reddit?
to me tonight.
What about that place that's in Green Lake? It's right.
Well, that's a different thing.
Beth?
Like, JP,
The one that's right in Aurora.
Yeah, Beth's.
Beth's, yeah.
Yo, you and I were talking about.
That's not far from here.
I had a friend that I had one of the people in the kitchen that worked at Beth's.
I ain't been Beth's in like 20 years.
How many?
20.
Holy shit!
It's been a while.
That's as old as I am.
I'm never up here.
All right, let's go.
I was 8 years old when you last went.
All right, Beth's.
In the back.
Bet.
Beth's.
Have a good night.
Wait, no.
He's going to Beth's.
Bye, guys.
You going to Beth's?
I thought so.
You going to Beth's? You going to Beth's?
Reposado. I have a long history with Reposado. It all started back about 4 years ago. I was living in the trailer in White Center, pushing green for a living. Driving an old 7.7 Continental in a big body 85 limousine with a 7.7 F-250 with a 400 mid-block. Then a man named John Paul Builes walks into my trailer with an acoustic guitar and a fancy hat on. Next thing you know, this Colombian angel starts singing songs about Miami. What do? I take a fat rip out the bong and bust the craziest freestyle the man ever heard in his life. Handed him a shot of Reposado. From that moment on, hermanos. We ended up having a little jam, you know, a couple days later with our buddy Evan McPherson, amazing guitarist from Seattle, and then we kept jamming and jamming the music, the vibes kept growing, and eventually he said, T, you gotta come and jam on a drum set. I had my first jam on a drum set up in Bellevue. That changed my life forever. Right after that, I was like, bro, we ain't paying for no rehearsal setups. I need to buy a drum set. He told me, if you get a drum set, your house will be the jam spot. Next thing you know, I buy a drum set. He picks up a phone and he calls a man named Joel Rosa from the Bronx, the Boogie Down, the home of hip hop. He says, I met a dude out here who got the best weed you ever seen, spitting crazy freestyles, driving 7-7 Continentals, living in a trailer. You should come out here and we starting a fucking band. Next thing you know, Joel drives 3,000 miles across the country in 3 days, sits down, we have our first jam. Next thing you know, Reposado is alive. And that was just the beginning of the journey, I tell you that much. Since that day, it's been growing and growing and growing, and the wave has turned into a tsunami of tequila funk. That is a little bit that I know about Reposado.
This painting is titled La Máquina del Tiempo, Time Machine. If you see, there is this image there. It's like a clock, right? And since when you are in prison, time becomes a very present thing. You know. Time is one of the things that define a prisoner, right? So in this painting, I try to converge the idea of escaping prison. The figure is a little bit distorted, and the face is more realistic, right?
See that?
And it seems that it was put there, and then el lazo de la horca.
The noose.
The noose. Also symbolic about how you broke that, and it symbolized to escape prison. So it, in a way, it's autobiographical, right?
Yeah.
But also it's more universal in the sense of
A man they call John Paul. Ooh. Word is he's been playing in clubs.
What's wrong with this? Sounds good.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, Jean-Paul Bouillet.
That's it. What I want to talk about is legend. Because
My brother.
Because I heard so many stories about Jean Paul. He can't be the same person. So many things happen to that guy.
I can tell you, I personally have crossed through over 30 states with Jean-Paul Bouillet. I've seen the man dancing on the streets of Havana, Cuba. I've seen the man rocking a borrica in Puerto Rico. Y las posibilidades, the possibilities with this man are limitless. He taught me the perfection inside the imperfection. You could take a moment, someone will look at his old beat down, broken brick wall and turn that into a beautiful piece of art.
art is my action. I will not sit silent and wonder, what am I doing? Where's my action? Am I doing enough? It's how you fight, and it's why you fight. You must always be vigilant. Imagine the world through someone else's eyes. I found myself avoiding Ponce. I could not bring myself to believe. The trouble with learning history is how to handle your relationship with it. And for it. Who should pay? How? Are my father's crimes also my own? How about my great-grandfather's? Where does the responsibility start? Where does it end? Maybe all we really need is recognition. That is where we start. One thing for sure, we don't get anywhere by running from it. We're avoiding it. We're defending it. We need to look it in the eye, head on, confront it. And then we can start to heal. In 1937, in the city of Ponce, Puerto Rico's second largest city, on a calm and beautiful Palm Sunday, people from all over the island gathered, wearing their best clothing on this very holy day. Over the previous couple of years, the workers had been gaining power. The government and the Domino Sugar was frightened. They would not accept another shutdown like the one a few years previous, the one that saw the workers demanding a raise in pay from their poverty slave wage of 45 cents for a 12-hour workday. The police of the island, some believe at the prompting of the US government, intended to send a message to the workers who were gaining confidence in their power. The marchers' permit was canceled at the very last minute, after people had already begun to gather from across the island. At the parade site, police surrounded the marchers and opened fire, shooting and killing indiscriminately. Young children, their grandparents. The police shot for 13 minutes. By the time they'd finished, 17 men, 1 woman, and a 7-year-old girl were dead. Over 200 people were wounded that day.
Thank you so much. We love you guys. We love the support. Thank you so much. If you're tall as shit, you got cross-eyed, big eyes, small eyes, wide eyes, I don't care. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels pain. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels pain. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels pain. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels You got cross-eyed, big eyes, small eyes, wide eyes, I don't care. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels pain. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels pain. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels pain. Everybody's struggling, everybody feels
They would try to take 10-1. Take Puerto Rico. So the Spaniards, like tell us to go for it. The Spanish built the fort. Not with Rivera hands. Yeah. They had Tainos build this shit. The natives had to build it for them. Yeah. And the Africans.
1787. It was an absolute black night. 7 brothers stood in watch under the silence of a new moon. Just beyond the horizon of San Juan Harbor, 65 British warships began their silent attack with a lone whistle. The whistle cuts through the pounding coastal waves and is heard by one night watchman. He readies his drum and pounds a rhythm of warning to his 6 brothers, who also are on watch, respond with their distinct cadence. Admiral Harvey, confident of the next colonial prize, he's ready to take this unexpected island for the Queen. A stronger navy has never been seen. Villagers hear the drums and know the end is near. They gather their families and head to the harbor for one final prayer. They sing to the ocean. As the ships approach, they begin to hear this distant drumming and song. Crew members quiver with fright. They're directed to hold steady and assured that they held the upper hand. As the ships come within sight of the harbor, the villagers sing with more desperation. The polyrhythms of the drums grow with intensity. Crew members of these British ships had never heard rhythms like this. Their limbs begin to flare and move in ways far beyond their control. Many leapt from their ships in pure madness. Admiral Harvey, who is paralyzed in the frantic chaos. The villagers' cries grow and mix with the drums, and they feel empowered, and they continue to grow. The second in command, Abercrombie, is forced to take control of the fleet and orders a prompt retreat. The villagers greet the morning with delight as the first rays illuminate the retreating fleet. Once again, the power of music, the legend of Montcalm, conquers all.
me dicen que la vida jode, ¿y qué? Pues si yo jodo más. Di que la vida jode. Pero más cabrón soy yo. Y la vida sigue y va. Y la vida sigue y va. Que la vida sigue y va. Y la vida sigue y va.
Time out. Listen to that first take.
Time out.
What?
Time out.
Yeah.
Yo, brother.
The first part,
yeah,
improvise. You gotta feel it. It's gonna be weird and it's cool.
Yeah.
You know. The second part, y la vida sigue, go like with like I'm coming with you. I'm about to come with something like like sigue, like like hit it with the
Okay.
And then the next one is like y la vida sigue va. Y la vida sigue, like it's
Okay.
just like the last one va, and then
All right.
you hit that
And then
that
come up. All
because
right.
it kind of like jumps.
He used to say, 10 blocks. You gotta walk 10 blocks before you're thinking that you have a chance. One. We'd find him in the closet, in the car, the guest bedroom, under the covers, with headphones, playing with his phone. I was taking notes, saying, "For breakfast. Let me tell you about what we overgrown." And off he'd go. He was always sneaking off into the park at 2 a.m. Talking into his phone. Not to anyone out there. Just talking to me. Well, he'd say, I just learned about this amazing artist in San Juan, Elisan Escobar. He was a political prisoner for 20 years. He was supportive of Puerto Rico having the same rights that the U.S. demanded from the British over 200 years ago in a much different world. Colonies are a centuries ago thing, right? What about Puerto Rico? Why does it feel so much like a colony?
You see, La Cascada is actually a magical waterfall in Puerto Rico. Every single amazing musician that has came from Puerto Rico went to El Yunque. They went into the waterfall and they cleansed their aura and they received the energy from Mama Tierra in La Cascada. That waterfall is where Jean-Paul Huilez hiked up the mountain and walked into the same waterfall that all the greats cleansed themselves in. And in El Yunque is where Jean-Paul Huilez found himself. In La Isla de Encanto, the island of enchantment in Puerto Rico. La historia es real, it's a real story. They say, yeah, after the last tour on the country, he left Los Estados Unidos, he left the United States to go tap into the rhythms, the African rhythms, the Latin sounds, the harmonies, the rhythm of the Taino people, the natives, and he went to the Caribbean. They said he hiked into the mountains of El Yunque, and he's never been seen since.
Yo, Crowley, are you good?
Rabia acumulada. Hay algo que se está acumulando. Un sentimiento descontrolado, contenido, con necesidad de un tajo. Ese sentimiento acumulado es una semilla. Es rabia engendrada y enterrada en la tierra. Esa rabia engendrada y enterrada en la tierra, acumulada en la mente y contenida en tinta, vestida de negro, no de luto sino de lucha. Esa que está contenida en rojo de las venas, en la presión cardíaca, en las venas brotadas de un grito de libertad. Esa rabia acumulada que corretea por las calles, que se convierte en llama, en humo, en gritos, mientras los tanques, las balas del plan fiscal y la fuerza del choque están a un lado. Del otro lado de nuestra resistencia en oposición. Esa rabia contenida en libros y en historias ocultas, esa rabia intelectual caminando por los pasillos de la universidad, desesperada y sin trabajo, endeudada. Rabia acumulada en los textos, en los sexos, en la diversidad de la sociedad salvaje. Rabia que corre mis arterias y hace que mi corazón palpite. Esa es la voluntad de ser libre, que el corazón de un grito nos vibre, impulso natural, al perseguir con rabia su libertad.
Por aquí.
Rabia acumulada.
Por aquí. ¿Quieres por aquí?
Sí, directo.
The screams should be heard and vibrate.
Pedro Rosselló. He was a Harvard-educated governor of Puerto Rico. He believed in reducing the size of government, aka hatcheting into funding programs of public benefit. He reduced the size of the state-run Puerto Rico telephone company to the size where he could drown it in the bathtub. Between Rosselló's selling most of PRTC and Bill Clinton's Telecommunications Act of 1996, which deregulated and killed off critical small market media outlets, also passed off the PRTC to private ownership. He was tough on crime, just not his own. Corruption was rampant in his administration, which would see most of it dismissed. His son, Ricardo, would write a book praising his father's governorship, learning all his lessons, and contempt for the people of Puerto Rico. In support of statehood, Ricardo Rosselló once stated that colonialism is not an option. It is a civil rights issue. The time will come in which the United States has to respond to the demands of 3.5 million citizens seeking absolute democracy. It was like a drop of water laced with carcinogens, a harmless little text passed from the governor to his colleagues. To him, it was nothing. Throwaway line. It showed how he and elected officials really felt about the people of the island. This and a series of other texts would be leaked to the public, leading about a third of the population to the street in protest. Some estimates report that as many as 1 million people came to the protests. Protests, at times, fell into violence as the police provoked protesters. Some say the Constitution extends only till 11 p.m. Tear gas, which is illegal in times of war but somehow accepted when dealing with protesters, was hurled into the crowds. Eventually, after days of protest, Governor Rosselló stepped down.
Puerto Rico, la colonia más antigua, un día se va a liberar. Esto es el nombre de usted, que se tiene que joder para buscarse el pan y el café, mientras otros se reparten entre ellos la boriquén. Este es 7-9, Luis Díaz, Emil Martínez y SJ. Pícalo, gallo. Yo salí del ojo del huracán. Ah, na, 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 na. Oye. Despierta.
Sam, you got that look in your eye. You got that look in your eye. Make it nasty, baby. Make it nasty. Uh-oh. Stand back. Stand back. It's about to get a little crazy.
And that happened with all the greats. When everyone took a stand, people get scared. And that's the energy that Tequila Funk, Reposado, John Paul Builes can bring into a place, could change the whole vibe. I've walked into rooms with this place and no one's dancing. No one. We break it down so hard, people get a little scared, a little intimidated up in Seattle. You take that same energy somewhere else, and you can blow the minds, open the hearts, loosen the bodies. So people might get scared of his power, but that power could change the world.
Yo soy la muerte, yo soy la muerte soy, yo soy la muerte.
So more than clave,
Yo soy la
more than clave,
That's
death, right?
Cowbell.
La muerte
Cowbell.
Yo soy la
So our history has a lot of assassinations. The last leader who was assassinated was Filiberto Ojeda, who was supposed to be the main leader of the Macheteros, the clandestine organization. So they killed him in the day of, we celebrate Lares, which was the uprising against the Spanish. And so the revolutionaries declared the First Republic in Lares, which is a town in the middle of the country. And so, since we celebrate that day, they killed him the same day to make it even worse, you know.
No te voy a mentir.
2005.
Por ahí está, por eso, en medio de los 2000.
Sí, más o menos, exacto.
What do you think inspires these people who are counter-revolution? Where does their inspiration to do this, to follow
to oppose independence?
Yeah.
Well, listen, in right now in Latin America, if you look at Chile, Bolivia, they have a coup d'etat against, what's his name? No. Allende too, but the one recent, Febo, what's his name, man? Who is an Indian guy, you know? And so,
Ecuador,
Bolivia. In Ecuador, also Correa was out. And the guy who's second to Correa, he became a traitor. And so, you know this guy from Wikipedia? What's his name?
you talking about WikiLeaks?
WikiLeaks.
Julian
Assange. He was in London in the Ecuador
embassy.
Right.
So since Correa was out, they got him, you know, and we don't know what they're doing to him, you know. So the struggle is all over Latin America, all over. In Brazil, Chile, you know. In Mexico, the new president is a left-wing, you know, president. So there have always been the persecution, but historically, like in Puerto Rico was, and Cuba was the last colonies of the Spanish Empire. And so a lot of the people who came from Venezuela after the revolution, they came to Puerto Rico, and they were reactionaries who opposed, you know, the struggle for independence in Puerto Rico. The first Cuban exiles from the Cuban Revolution in '59, they came to Puerto Rico and they organized against the independence, and they have organizations that kill pro-independence people, you know. And one of the reasons that the clandestine organization came back is because we have to defend ourselves. And so they were backed by the FBI and the CIA. So the Cubans, exiles, have been
agreements now will be singled instead of having 188
but Governor, my question
processes.
My question was, there are 100,000 people on the streets, politicians of all stripes, the President of the United States, all saying you need to go, that this is enough. You've said no. Why not?
Well, there's an important component about rule of law and democracy, and I respect that process. We will have and we will propose certain mechanisms so that within the future that process can go forward. My contention is that I need to work beyond politics so that we can address some of the long-standing problems of corruption here in Puerto Rico and fix that problem. I have a proposal that I've sent to several of the aides of the president that we've been working on. I've had a record of what we have done and things that we want to do moving forward.
Well, Governor,
those include
frankly, Governor, excuse the interruption, but I have a limited amount of time. The corruption is rampant in Puerto Rico. Economically, Puerto Rico is in a fiscal crisis, $70 billion in debt, in a 13-year recession, in the leaked nearly 900 pages of profanity-laced messages now dubbed Rickygate after you, sir. You made light of the casualties of Hurricane Maria. You casually tossed homophobic and misogynistic remarks. You were calling the Puerto Rican former New York City Council Speaker Melissa Mark Vivierto a whore. Of the oversight board that controls Puerto Rico's finances, you said, go F yourself. And when your representative to that board said he's salivating to shoot the woman who's the mayor of San Juan, you said you'd be doing me a grand favor. So attacks on women, attacks on gays, attacks on the dead relatives of your own residents across your own island, and after all that, who's left to support you? And is it even safe for you to continue to attempt to govern?
Well, again, I've apologized for that. I'm making amends for all of those efforts.
You've apologized for what,
this was,
specifically, Governor?
For all of the comments that I've made on the chats. That is one thing. There's another effort that needs to move forward, which is the battling of corruption. Look, we have implemented the
corruption was in your own administration,
$15.5
million, and 5 people who were on those chats. You got rid of all of them. They are now out of the government, but you remain. Doesn't the buck stop with your office, Governor?
That's right, but I was elected by the people of Puerto Rico.
And those people are on the streets of your biggest city today saying, we want you out. That's the headline in the main newspaper. And the politicians on both sides of the political aisle on your own island are saying the exact same thing. You're a man on an island by yourself. How long can you stay there?
My effort and my commitment is to follow through on some of the efforts that I established for the people of Puerto Rico. That includes establishing, again, a plan that I've already circulated with the members within the White House so that we can battle this corruption, so that we can tackle what government employees are doing, what we are doing as elected officials, and a collaboration with the federal government. This is the biggest recovery effort in the United States history. It's important to state that we have the biggest STEP program in the United States for homes. The IG came over here, the federal IG, and they established that nothing went wrong on that program. So there are a lot of efforts that we've been doing now. If you want to drain the swamp, you need to tackle those problems.
Governor, who's come forward to support you in the middle of this chaos?
There are folks that have supported me.
Who specifically is supporting you today?
The rule law. There are people.
Okay,
you just
could you give me one name?
See them out there. There is a protest. Well, I've talked
just one name,
to people
Governor.
From different groups. A lot of people from the administration.
Governor, you're not able to give me the name of one person in Puerto Rico who supports you continuing this study.
So they say John Paul moved up to these mountains.
You can see, La Cascada is actually a magical waterfall in Puerto Rico. Every single amazing musician that has came from Puerto Rico went to El Yunque. They went into the waterfall and they cleansed their aura and they received the energy from Mama Tierra in La Cascada. That waterfall is where Jean Paul Huilez hiked up the mountain and walked into the same waterfall that all the greats cleansed themselves in. And in El Yunque is where Jean Paul Huilez found himself, in La Isla de Encanto, the island of enchantment in Puerto Rico. La historia es real, it's a real story.
So they say John Paul moved up to these mountains.
Oh yeah, you got a little mixed up, huh? Or got a little bit of clarity, a little bit of both.
You think he's gonna find it up here?
I don't know. It depends on what form it comes into him. You know? Got a heart.
Yo, I'm gonna need something. Y'all with me? I'm gonna need that. Ba-boom. Ba-boom. 1, 2.
Reposado. Yeah, ya tú sabes. Hey fellas, let's give these people what they need, man. Yeah. When you need some water for your soul, who's gonna fill your cup? Reposado. Reposado. When you're feeling down and out, who's gonna lift you up? Reposado. 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 Come on, hit it. Who's gonna spark that light? Reposado. Reposado. And when they doing you wrong, who's gonna do you right? Reposado. Reposado. Tequila funk. Woo. Yeah. Now take a shot. Yeah. Come on. Tequila funk. Feel it in your chest. Go take a shot. You now rockin' with reposado.
Reposado.
Yeah. Reposado.
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 Water for your soul. Who's gonna fill your cup? Reposado. Reposado. And when you're feeling down and out, who's gonna lift you up? Reposado. 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 Who's gonna snort that light? Reposado. Reposado. When they do you wrong, who's gonna do you right? Reposado. Reposado. Yeah. Reposado. Reposado. Come on. Reposado. Reposado. Yeah. Reposado. But you better give it back.